I guess we are live, Kim.
We are. It looked like it was going well, so I hung up the phone.
I can't hear you.
Oh boy. What about now? Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you. I hear you. I see your mic on my side, but it's not.
What about now? It's great. You can't hear me.
And we were just talking and everything, right? About like. I might, since Legend is going pretty crazy, like right about now, he decided now is the time for him to get his puppy on. Legend.
Can you hear me?
No. Go to your, it's like a settings little wheel at the top of your video. You see that? And see which mic you have set up. Well, thank you everybody who's tuning in now. It's been a minute. I still can't hear you, Kim, but I see you perfect enunciation because I know exactly what you said. So getting a new truck. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No, I don't know what it is. Maybe if you come back in and go out and come back in.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay. I can reach your lips very well. All right, so while we wait for Kim to come back, just to say thank you guys for tuning in. For those who are tuning in, it's been a minute, 4 months since we logged in and gave you guys some of our takes and goodness about sports, and a lot has happened in the world. It's crazy. Okay, Kim is back. So let's see.
Can you hear me?
See if it's gonna work.
No.
I don't know what the issue is and why. And I see your mic, but the dots are not moving on your mic on my end.
They are on mine.
So your dots are moving on your end.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Let's see if there's. Okay. All right. Kim?
Yes.
Okay. I hear you now.
Yay!
Yes.
Technology.
Right.
All right. Back to what you were saying. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're good to go. I'm rolling. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't hear me?
Okay. Yeah. I hear you, but I'm trying to if I can mute my background noise here. I got some
That's company.
Yeah,
he's trying to be a part of it. Let him be.
Yeah, he's doing this thing. Typically, if in a Zoom meeting at this point in time, I would mute and be like, "Legend, no," and then come back on.
Yep. I got you.
Well, cool. All right.
Yeah, this is exciting. It's been I wasn't sure how long it had been, and I went back to the Facebook page, and it's been 3 months, at least since the last video was uploaded. It seems like it's been longer than that in these quarantine times, but apparently it's only been 3 months. I can't believe it's already August 1st. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy. that we are so far into the COVID situation. How you know how we thought like, oh, if like a couple of months, like a couple of weeks, a month or so, and then we'll be back to normal maybe, but it's just getting worse. And who knows when uh, what normal will be after
Normal.
this.
Yeah,
Right, normal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Always in quotation marks now, because who knows, like you said, what it's going to mean, or I mean, have we reached that? And it seems like, at least for now, for the hopefully for the short term future, this is our new normal of having to mask up every time you go out, and it's just, I think sometimes when I'm out, I stop and kind of think about it and look around and how everyone has a mask on their face and trying to stay away from one another. All of the cleaning of the different devices. I was just at Harris Teeter earlier this morning, and as soon as someone uses one of the self checkout machines, and there's an associate there who's spraying it down and wiping it down in between each customer. So, and they don't have all of them available, right? So they skip every and do every other one, so you don't have to be so close to people. So it's just
Mhm.
again, it's crazy, but here we are, and I'm glad that we're able to do this. I'm glad that some sports have come back, albeit in a different new way. But it's exciting to see some live sports and not have to go on YouTube and rewatch things.
Yeah.
Appreciated that. I've appreciated all the things that have been on ESPN, all the 30 for 30s that they've done. Who knows if they were actually planning to roll all of these things out during the timeline that they did, and maybe not. Maybe they moved them up because sports stopped. But I appreciate being able to see some of those things. Um, and so there he is. Look, he's excited about it too. I agree. So
He is
here we
going to
are.
town over here. Yeah, I've caught myself being real savvy. I gave him like this little toy where you fill up with peanut butter and freeze it, and it's supposed to keep him busy for hours. That thing is clean. I gave it to him like right before,
Peanut
right
butter is
before
good
we went
stuff. Peanut butter is good stuff, so I can understand. I can understand. I clean out my peanut butter jar pretty quickly too. So I get it.
on. Yeah, peanut butter is the jam. All right. So on a serious note, hold on, just a minute. I will have to get him under control. Just a minute.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Yeah, Navette has recently during quarantine times gotten a dog, and so he's young and excited, and he sometimes gets a little too excited. So she's having to go over and calm him down a little bit. There he is making an appearance. He is
Yes.
so
So everyone, this is Legend. He is
legend.
doesn't
Oh,
want to be up here with me. He wants to be down making destruction. Say
uh-huh.
hey, Legend.
Hey, buddy. That's what they do. Oh, he's cute. Look at him.
Yes, right. Isn't he cute? Oh, his name is Legend Bean. Bean
That's
after Kobe Bean Bryant.
uh-huh.
So he is a legend.
There we go. I like it. It's a good name. It's a good name.
Right. So let's hope he lives up to that.
Yeah. Look, no pressure. No
No
pressure.
pressure.
Well, I think as soon as he gets a little more trained and gets into a groove, I think he'll settle right in and
Girl,
be
he
ready
is
to go.
army crawling over here to the area I just took him back from. Army crawling.
Because that way you won't see him.
I can't see him.
No, don't.
But
Don't
okay.
don't.
And all okay, so let's get into it. Yeah, like we hinted at, the world is very different than what it was 3 months, 4 months ago, and we all know the reason for that. All of the movement, the reckoning that's pretty much coming upon the world when it comes to Black lives and recognizing that they do matter, and it's okay to say that. And just everyone just getting well, most of people getting on board, listening to the messages actually, instead of not getting angry at the sign of kneeling and things that you don't understand. So we take the opportunity to appreciate that, and try to use this platform that we have, whatever little that we do have, to say that Black lives do matter. We still want justice for Breonna Taylor, and yeah, we
Absolutely.
are. Yeah, Kim, you want to add in?
Yeah, no, I agree. It sounds like Legend wants to add it in too. But I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you said. It is amazing to me that we are able to be alive during this time to
Right. Yeah.
see people speak out about things that I don't think that I necessarily thought were not an issue, but I think just as a culture and as a society, that because sure you have these isolated events and people start to get to rally around these events once the events happen, but then it kind of dies down. And I think about the other um, incidents of police brutality or vigilante neighbors. I mean, you think about big cases like Trayvon Martin and things like that, and people got really, really upset and rallied around that. And then after the court case and things start to die down, and maybe that energy doesn't continue to move forward. And I
Hmm.
think what we have seen in the past few months is that not only because of the nature of these things being having the national attention, but just all of these killings that have happened in succession in a very short period of time, and the energy stayed high, and people are frustrated. People are upset, and it's okay. It's okay. He's a puppy. He's a
He was
puppy.
good all day,
Of
all
course,
day.
of course, of course. But now company's here. You know how that goes.
Right.
But I'm a long-winded way of virtually saying I agree with everything that you have said, and I appreciate and where we kind of bridge this with what our platform is and what we typically are talking about here is what they're doing in sports
Hmm.
to bring attention to it, because sports have a way of uniting people, and sports have a way of reaching out and touching people who may not otherwise hear certain messages, right?
Right. Right.
So
Because yeah, because
go
in
ahead.
the society that we have, like the platform they have, the way that people idolize sports figures, the money that they make, so they have a lot of power. And to say that they shouldn't have a say, or that they should just sit down and shut up and dribble, in other words. And then just to think about in the history of sports, how history kind of rewrites itself, kind of how like Martin Luther King's legacy has been rewritten, just like Muhammad Ali. Like he died a hero, but while he was alive, like he was, not seen as such because of his position when it came to not wanting to be drafted and fighting a war he didn't believe in because of the freedoms that he did not receive at home. So
Right.
just knowing that, so now we look at him as a hero at the time, but he wasn't. You can see like that same narrative kind of turning with Kaepernick as well. How people who didn't understand him were like quick to anger, quick to get into their feelings because of a situation that just doesn't affect them, didn't make it real. But now that you see a man die, again, I mean, it's not like the first time, but 8 minutes and 46 seconds is a long time. So
Yeah.
something like that, that kind of happened, like this nexus of this COVID, like we're all at home, we're all like watching TV at the same time, nothing else to do. And everyone's already had these pent up emotions. So everything just came to like a up head. And I think a lot of arguments like back and forth. I know our boy Kyrie was like against going into a bubble, going to restarting the season. Like we have more important things to do. But I was always of the mindset that this platform that they have now is humongous. It's huge, and it's going to keep pushing the narrative forward because, like you see now, people are not paying attention to the protests like they were before. So it's kind of become like secondhand news. So now, with the NBA restart, is different.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because you are in a position to, especially with nothing else going on, like you're saying, right? I mean, sure that not I shouldn't say nothing. I mean, baseball has come back. They're having some of their own issues, and we'll get to that and talk about that. But with the NBA restarting and just what they have done, all these sports have done in their
Mm-hmm.
restarts. If you look and see the unity as far as what they're doing during the national anthem, the warm ups that they're wearing in the bubble, the messages that they're wearing on the backs of their jerseys, and in watching the games that have already started, and in thinking about restarting the NBA, something that the athletes made clear that was important to them is being able to address what's going on outside of that bubble. And it's not so much just what's going on outside of the bubble as far as COVID is concerned, but what's going outside of that bubble with our nation as a whole. And that includes what's going on with COVID, but what's going on with racial equity and pushing the mark forward and trying to bring attention to the social injustices that people of color are having to deal with and have had to deal with for generations. So I am excited that they have taken on this platform. I'm excited to see how it will continue to grow and how the movement will continue to push forward. But yeah, we definitely wanted to open up and take some time to discuss that. And I'll say on the more non-sports related side, it'll be interesting just to see how these really big cases that started out right in I guess March and April, the bigger ones that everyone's familiar with, how these things are going to get handled as far as Kim is low. Let me turn up my volume. As far as what has happened in these court cases. So I'm interested to see because we have had situations where individuals are arrested. We haven't really had the situation where there are convictions that flow from the arresting. So it'll just be interesting to see how these cases unfold and what ultimately is going to happen. So I'm looking forward to hopefully some justice being reached for these individuals for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Ouch. Ooh, okay. Okay. I just played a little test sound. I was just trying to see what I could do on my end, see if it's Mariola. Kim, can you? Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm trying to, and I'll just speak louder too. Maybe that helps.
Okay.
I can also just turn up my voice, and maybe that'll get us there. So
All right.
yeah, but
All
go
right.
ahead.
So the reason why we are here, let's just jump into it. Yeah, sports. We actually have that now.
Hmm.
Who would have thought? I was very skeptical about this bubble. But I mean, I guess if you have all the money in the world, you can make lots of things happen. So it's like spent like like close to $1 billion trying to get this bubble up, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think I'm excited about it. I was kind of like watching the first couple of games. I got excited about the NBA, about watching teams play. I thought it was gonna be kind of weird that the virtual fans are weird. I think we should get rid of that. That's kind of creepy.
You don't like seeing those people at the back of the thing of
It's,
the.
and there's so many like different sizes, and I'm like, we can't all like get like the same size, and people, I don't understand like why people are different sizes, like the heads are. I don't.
They're doing. They're
It,
doing the
I
best.
saw someone sleep on there the other night. I'm not lying because it was a late game. It's the Lakers game. I was half asleep myself because I'm tired. So my eyes were closed, and I saw one of the virtual people eyes closed too. Like, come on, sir, log
Well, he
off.
he's at home and he's doing the best he can. He had a long day. He's taking a little rest.
Log day.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. I saw there's a beer company. I can't remember which one it is, but they're doing sweepstakes, so to speak, for you to be virtually one of the fans. And so I think
Oh,
what you
cool.
have to do, you have to send in because I was just curious. So I went to the website and you just have to send in a picture of yourself enjoying that particular beer, and then it's however you get creative with the picture, and they'll select someone and they have you indicate your team. So I'm assuming they'll let you be the virtual fan for the team that you like to
Oh,
watch for one of their games. So
I was wondering how you
now
got.
the people that they have already. I don't know if that was a thing before then. I mean, I
Because
really
Chris
just
Bosh
switched
was on
back.
there. He was.
I really just switched back to watching live TV. So maybe this commercial has been running for a minute and I just haven't seen it
Uh huh.
because of everything being the way it is. I've been doing so much virtual or excuse me, virtual streaming of everything. So
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe that's how those other people got there. But yeah, I would say too, it's interesting because to your point, when you have all the money and you can continue to do the testing that you're doing
Right.
and do everything you can to keep the athletes as safe as possible, because for
Mm-hmm.
them, or for all sports, that's what people are concerned about right now. How are we going to have these sports played and played safely when you have so much physical contact in almost every sport you play, aside from golf and tennis? At some point you're close to one another, even in baseball and things like that. And with
Mm-hmm.
tennis, you're sharing balls, right? You're using the same ball that somebody else used.
Right.
But physically, you're having to be close to these people. So when you have the money, you can do the testing. You can tell people that they have to be quarantined, much like people who have to leave the bubble. So I know Austin Rivers recently had to leave, Zion had to leave, and depending on what happens when you're away, those are the things that
If you need some chicken wings, maybe hold it or
yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
send somebody to get
Look,
them for you. How about that?
must have been some good chicken wings. That's all I gotta say. He
Yeah,
definitely
I mean, I
great
know.
restaurant.
I mean, a big thing is that you curbside is a thing.
Not there, not there. You got to go in and check out the wings.
I'm sure if your name is on the menu, they would bring your wings out to you.
Oh
They,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that was personal choice. I think it had nothing to do with with that they couldn't, and everything to do with that he didn't want them to. He wanted to go in there, So,
yeah. Uh,
um, but yeah, it's really interesting, and that kind of segues a little bit because what we've seen so far, we were just talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and what we've seen with the teams, and we've seen the teams kneeling for the anthem in solidarity. We've seen all of the teams wearing the Black Lives Matter shirts as their warm ups, and then we've also seen them with the messages on the back of their jerseys. Some of them, like the hashtag we have floating across the screen, say her
mhm.
name. I've seen say their names, peace, equality, things like that. And so, what we did have the other night with the Orlando Magic game was we saw Jonathan Isaac, who is a black player, a black athlete, who chose not to wear the Black Lives Matter T-shirt and also chose not to kneel for the anthem, even though the rest of his teammates and the team they were playing and coaches did. And so it was interesting. I don't know if you had an opportunity to listen to his press conference response.
I did, but I didn't get much of an explanation from it, to be honest. But
See,
what?
I don't think that's a you problem. I think that's because he didn't say anything. I mean, I watched it twice, and
Okay.
I was like, what are you trying to say? Because for me, it was one of those moments where someone asks you a pretty direct question, and the your answer is right here in the middle, and you're just doing this thing where you're just circling around and you're just talking about fluff and not
Yeah.
really answering the question. So I
Hmm.
didn't get much from it because I don't think he ever answered the question personally.
And it's not like I have like I feel like he needs to do it. I mean, to each his own. No one should feel coerced or that they have to do this to make a statement per se. But yeah, once again, like if you're gonna do it and you know that you're standing out, you are the only one without the shirt on and the only one who did not kneel. Which once again, fine. I mean, no one has to do this. This is
Right.
everyone has their own personal way of. I guess protesting or advocating for these situations. Um, but his explanation just he didn't have one. It's like I'm not gonna do it because I just don't feel like it should be done. Which okay, I guess that's his explanation. Sure, okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm with you on that, right? No one has to do anything. You're not forced to do anything. Everyone can do what it is that they feel is best. But I think what I saw as far as a difference, right? Because what you also saw was Popovich not kneeling and one of his assistant coaches not kneeling, but they did wear the T-shirt. And my takeaway from that is that Popovich has been very outspoken about the things
Yeah,
he's feeling and how,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
and so there's no thought that crosses, at least for me, I can't speak for everyone. I would hope it doesn't for other people, but for me, there's no thought that crosses my mind that he thinks that Black lives don't matter, that he is not
Hmm.
informed about what this movement means, and he is not working to be a part of it and actively
Mhm.
doing so. He has been
Mhm.
very outspoken and always has been about
Mhm.
things of social issues, social justice issues. And I think that's kind of the difference, right? Because with Jonathan Isaac, there's nothing really that I can look at because all he said was, I don't think I need to. Of course, I think Black Lives Matter. And for me, you're just saying that. I don't see any action. And quite honestly, just because you're black doesn't mean you think that Black Lives Matter. And I feel like he thinks that's all it takes,
Yeah.
right? If you're a person of color, then of course I think other people of color are important. And so again, to each his own. He doesn't have to, but in the situation with everything that's going on, you know that you stand out like a sore thumb. You know that it's going to be addressed in some fashion. It would have been nice for him to have a better response prepared, knowing that they're going to ask you about this. When
Right.
every single game so far, this has happened with every single player,
Mhm.
every single coach. You not doing it says that you're trying to, in some fashion, make a statement. So if you're going to make a statement, then make the statement. And I felt like he just didn't do that very well. But whatever he thinks that is necessary for him to be a part of or not be a part of, or whatever his opinion and position are,
Yeah.
I just feel like knowing that you're in the public eye, they're going to ask you for your position and your opinion. You could have had something better prepared than
Yeah.
whatever he said. Quite honestly, I don't know.
I
I
don't.
don't
Yeah.
really
He didn't say
know.
anything. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't. He
But
didn't.
then once again too, I saw like what game for the Rockets and the Mavs. So when they kneeled, they put down towels on the floor and kneeled on the towels to cushion their knees.
Got to protect their
Um,
knees.
I'm
Got to protect their
if you
knees.
can't, I'm like I looked at that kind of sideways without like, what's the point? You have a little bit of sacrificing your kneeling here. Like if you have some knee issues, don't kneel.
Delicate,
um,
delicate knees.
like you don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, right.
It's just all very interesting, right? It's all interesting to see different people's takes. So I think that's kind of a big takeaway for us. So people are going to exercise this right in different manners. And so it's important for us to maintain respect for everyone
Hmm.
despite any differences of opinion that we have. I think that's my biggest takeaway because constantly I feel like in this country, when people disagree, they continue to bicker and fight and tell you that this is wrong or that is wrong, as opposed to just respecting the differences in opinion and just going on from there, right? So let's
Hmm.
continue to work to move forward. We don't agree, we don't see eye to eye on this one thing, but we can still come together as humans and try to make this environment, this space better for everyone. So that's
Yeah.
my takeaway.
Right. Yeah. So this whole thing is about how can we talk? How can we? How are we actually listening, and not just assuming? So predictions, Kim, for this is so technically. I mean, this is a whole new thing, whole new like season. Really, like this is different. Like home court advantage does not matter because there's no home court. Even though the home teams are simulating their
Yeah, I was
sounds
about to say they're
in.
moving around. Yeah.
But
They're
okay,
trying. They're trying.
okay, sure, okay, yeah. So, but still, it's not the same. It's not the same as you having those two sticker decals on the floor and say this is a Bucks court, but it's really not.
It's everyone's
So,
court. Yeah.
yeah. What have your predictions from the beginning of the year changed based on this? Are you still sticking to your like? Who do you think is going to take away? At the beginning, if I do recall correctly, do believe you chose the Clippers,
I did.
and we know who I chose, the Lakers, because of course.
Did.
Um, so,
Because of course.
has anything changed for you?
I'm just going to just leave it where it is. I just feel like there's no need for me to shake it up now. Quite honestly, for the reasons that you've said, I think that it's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of how the pieces are coming together and who's going
be there.
to yeah, who's going to be there. You don't have home court advantage anymore. Everyone's playing on the same court. Everyone's having to deal with the same sort of distractions, right? In that they're
Hmm.
away from their families, they're away from their loved ones, they're having to stay strictly around their teammates. And maybe part of that can hit your focus slightly, but maybe that also motivates you, right? Because if I'm making this much of a sacrifice to do this, to be away from the people I care about, let me really grind. And I don't have anything else to do but play video games because I'm in this bubble. So all I can do is play video games against the other people in the bubble, or I can go and get extra workouts in. I like that whispering legend. Stop. I didn't realize you muted yourself. My
I
bad.
did.
But but for that reason, I would say that I'm going to keep it the same just because I don't think there's really anything that makes me change my mind because we're in the situation that we're in, and it really is, to your point, it's just going to be a matter of who's going to be there. And really, from the games that I've seen the past couple of days, they've all been really competitive.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're taking it seriously. Like
they
people
are, they
thought
are.
that because it wouldn't matter so much like the Bucks Celtics game because the seeding didn't really matter at that point. They didn't have to do a play-in game at the end of this. It's pretty much exhibition games, warm-ups, get you back in the flow. But that was serious. That was people are taking this serious. Hopefully, Jay Tatum is in the gym and putting on some shots because 218, bruh. We can't do that. You can't be out there shaming the brotherhood to an 18
Brotherhood,
shooting when
right?
before this you were lining up like you were the second coming of Kobe. So yeah, so I'm praying for Jay
Well,
Tatum in
and
his shot.
yeah, let's do that. But that appears to be broken at the moment. But he'll get it.
He'll get it.
He's got a good shot. He'll get it. Hopefully. But to your point, I think I watched the Pelicans Utah game, and I saw some people who were continuing. Right, so Brandon Ingram, he had before this had All-Star caliber season, was playing very well, and he started and played that entire game. Really, I mean, he missed
Yeah,
the game
yeah,
winning shot,
he
the
right.
time shot, but he played well,
Yeah,
and you know
he played. He had a really good game overall, and
yeah,
but that game mattered. Like the Pelicans needed to win that game in order to
yeah,
have like a real shot of trying to take the 8 seed. I think they needed that to like burst for momentum, and now they're like a game behind, not just half a game. They're a game and a half behind. So and then we also, if you just add that to the fact that the Blazers did win their game, and now they have moved up 2.5 games behind the Grizzlies, so they are in a much better situation than the
oh
Pelicans.
yeah,
And I mean, like, of course, and you look at the firepower with the Blazers. And one thing too about this whole thing, people are rested. So like, you're not gonna, it's you don't have to travel far to get to the you walk, it's next door, man. So no flights, you know,
yeah.
so you don't have like your fire, like you know, right. No, you have to get used to like a
No
new setting or a new locker room when you travel. So
time zone, right? You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. The playing field. This is the most level playing field you could possibly have because everyone is dealing with the same situation
yeah.
and they're having to go through the exact same experience. So that's what makes it so interesting to me because you're blocking out all this extra stuff and it really is boiling down to who's working hard and then who's actually performing when it's time to perform because I
Mhm.
imagine they're all working hard, right? Who's going to work the hardest and then who's going to show that hard work when it's time for the performance to happen, when the game is on, when the lights are on. And so yeah, I just don't have a reason to go back to your original question. I just don't have a reason other than this is just where that's what I picked. I'll stick with it. I have no need to change it. And now we have everybody on the same playing field, and we'll just kind of see what shakes out and what happens. And
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited where I am.
I'm sticking with the Lakers only because of fandom. Because
Yeah,
once again,
I can see
like
that.
why else? Like why? I mean, I'm not gonna pick the field. I'm not gonna pick the
Okay,
Clippers. So
okay, 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 okay. We know how you feel.
right. So the East, though, who you think is going to come out of the East? Now, I think that situation is kind of interesting. I think you have a lot of possibilities there. Like if Jason could get his game on, I think we can. I'm no legit before then when the Celtics like the way he was playing, like I was like, oh, this is serious. So if we could get back to that level, and then with Kemba coming back, I think they will have a legit chance. But then once again, we have to see what the Sixers are looking like. If this little experiment they're doing. Oh, okay. Shanice, I didn't mean to. Okay,
Okay.
okay, yeah, okay. Good luck with that, Shanice.
On period.
I'm for the Celtics coming out because of Jay Tay, and the
On period. She's serious. And that's on period.
right.
She's
That's it.
serious. Yeah, that's it. No more discussion. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there are a lot more possibilities on that side. We have, like you said, see what's going on there. The Bucks obviously will see what's going on there.
Yeah,
Um,
honest, yeah.
yeah, you mean so? I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember who I picked. Do you remember?
I don't think it matters. I think we both hit the Sixers
You're right. I don't think it
because
matters. Your point, I don't think it matters. I think I think we did pick the Sixers, and I think it's because we both ultimately said we thought it was going to be somebody from the West, which is why we're saying it doesn't matter. Which Shanice probably does not agree with, but I think that's what we were saying. But yeah, I think it's a lot more of a wide open type of deal. But for me, it's between those three teams. It's between the Bucks, the 76ers, and the Celtics. And again, it's all these things that we've said. We'll see who gets it together, who decides to put the pieces together, who plays the way that they need to play, and who's going to show up when they need to show up because the competition was high, the games were close,
yes,
and all these games. I mean, 2 and 3 points separated
overtimes.
them at the end. Yeah, exactly.
We
Some
had
of them
two
went to
overtimes.
overtime, and the thing for me that's exciting about it is it already has the finals feel to it, and
Yeah,
that's exciting for the NBA season. The NBA season is so long, and you see these games where the criticism they often get is that it seems like the athletes don't care much, or they don't really start playing until it's the fourth quarter anyway, and it's whatever. I'm not really competing at the highest level, but for me, it seems like they're coming out of the gate and they're trying to make a statement. And for them, I'm sure it's getting back into the swing of it. That's funny. I can accept it. I hear that. I hear that.
that's what
That's how
that's
I
what
am
the
about
fan
things.
is. That's called being a fan.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You live and die with them, whatever happens. So I have nothing but respect for that. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But Shanice, I think the Celtics have a legit chance.
Let's say
Yeah,
she's a
look,
win so that. Oh yeah, right. Yes, and of course you saw like we had what was it the Clippers Lakers game? They had like what was it 36 combined turnovers or something like that, and that's
same way
ridiculous.
with the Jazz and Pelicans. It was something crazy. CP3, the real MVP.
Right, you could say the same thing about Ja too, Manuel. Like they were not projected to be in the playoffs either, and I mean, if you want to give MVP to a rookie, I mean, like who would have thought that the Grizzlies would be in this position, like uh, fighting? Oh well, like pretty much they. I mean, it's theirs to lose the
Yeah,
eighth spot, and no one projected to be in the playoffs at all. So yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I do
good
agree with
point.
CP3. I do. I mean, like no one. I like Oklahoma City. Like I after thought. I thought that thought those games to be boring and not. But they are a very interesting team. I do like to watch them play, and I like to see them like come up and beat the Houston Rockets. It's always fun.
I tend to agree, given how the transition has gone with players and whatnot. So absolutely, yeah, and I think too. I agree with Shanice too. Once they get into real gameplay and they get a couple more games under their belt, I think they're really going to. It's going to be even more engaging and interesting to
Still in the
watch.
playoffs.
So
Still in the playoffs, Mango.
yeah, yeah, it don't matter, bud. Look, they made it. They made it, which is I think for most NBA teams, that's the thing, right? You just want a seat at the table because all sorts of crazy things can happen. Now
Especially
it's
now.
different than yeah, it's different than NCAA type thing because because it's more than just the one game, right? Anybody can form one game. It's a series, so you at least have that. But in that same vein, you still have teams that can string together 3, 4 games and figure it out. And the next thing you know, the team that you were expecting to either hold the trophy up at the end is sitting at home watching somebody else compete for it. So
Right.
you just never know. So with this level playing field, I'm excited. I really am. Regardless of if my pick is right or not, it would be great if it's right because I don't remember what the tally is, but I'm
I
behind.
think it's kind of like 4-1.
I was thinking it's more like 3-1, but I'll take your word for it. I have not done well with my picks. You're probably right. You're probably right.
I think it's 3-1. It's three
I
to
was gonna
one.
say the competitive me is probably just trying to sway it and hopefully there's a chance. But here's the problem: we're running out of sports because of the COVID stuff. So I don't know.
Right.
But good,
And
I love it. Shout out.
talking about other sports, that the MLB, Kim, what's going on with baseball? Talking about
Man,
the way
so
not to
they're
do this whole COVID thing, right?
well, here's the thing, and it's interesting because with baseball, the thing that they're doing is continuing to have actual home and away games,
Mm-hmm.
right? For the most part, the only thing they've done, other than of course they have the ability, we talked about the money thing, so they can test and all of that and do it a lot more frequently and get results back a lot more quickly than you and I might be able to get them. But they're continuing to treat it as if it's a normal season otherwise. And I understand baseball teams are significantly larger than basketball teams. So, and we're not talking about a playoff situation. This is the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you have already had the chance to dwindle it down to 16 teams. No, you're talking about all the teams. So, what do you do when you're going to different venues and you're having home and away games and you're still being around one another? Um, so it's awesome. It's just crazy. I don't know if they're going to be able to finish the season. We'll see. They've had to postpone a number of series already and can't I mean cancel them essentially because you've had a number of outbreaks. I know the Marlins were having a big issue with it. I think they had like 17 players and coaching staff people that
Mm-hmm.
tested positive, so they had to cancel an entire like 3 game series that they were supposed to have. And you have other teams that have done the same thing. So who knows? They're starting to, I guess, the talks about whether or not they can wear masks when they're playing, and if that's how the players are contracting it. But here's the other thing: my understanding is that if you have a home stand, when the game is over, you're going home, right? It's not a bubble. It's
Right.
not this
Exactly. Exactly. You
you can
can't.
still go to these restaurants or have food delivered from wherever. So if the athletes aren't doing what they need to do and their families, right, if they're not willing to commit to saying everyone that's in this house is staying in this house until the season's over,
Mm-hmm.
what do you expect? You're going to see the same thing that you see in normal operating life with
Mm-hmm.
regular civilians who do not make millions of dollars playing sports.
And look, and look at where the hot spot is for baseball. Miami. Come
Hmm.
on now.
And Florida as
In
well.
Florida, I mean, it's one thing to have a bubble in Florida. It's one thing not to in Miami. When you in the right in the midst of the hotspot of COVID period in the country, and then you have all these distractions going on. It's it's that type of city. People still go, going clubbing and whatnot. So of course, I mean, I'm not surprised that if it's going to be a team where there's an outbreak, that it would be Miami. And then just going back to the fact about how baseball is handling this, that they decided not to do a bubble, basically because the players are like, nah, we ain't doing that. We don't feel that, so we ain't doing it. But now you see, I mean, like science works most times, a lot of times. So just what do the experts say, man? This is, I mean, I would be surprised if baseball finishes the season, um,
Yeah.
because I'm surprised that there hasn't been any cross contamination already from Miami to who they were at Philadelphia, correct, before.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was just plain luck. I think that no one in Philadelphia has turned up positive with COVID for right now. But yeah, I would be totally shocked and surprised if the baseball season even, pans out.
Yeah, well, and then beyond that, I saw. I'm
Mm.
trying to make sure I'm remembering correctly. I believe it was the Dodgers and the Astros. They didn't actually get into a full-on brawl, but the benches cleared, right?
Yeah,
So what they're
it's
doing,
those droplets in the air. It's the droplets. So
exactly.
if we
That's
having
what.
words, Kim,
Yeah.
and I'm all
What
in your
what are we
face,
doing?
it's the droplets.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We're trying to do everything we can to protect. And now because you're upset because you struck out and somebody said something and made a face or stuck a tongue out, whatever little gesture the pitcher did, now you're upset. Benches are cleared. Coaches are trying to keep you separate, and now you're all up in each other's faces. A few of them had masks on, most of them did not, and they're touching one another, trying to break apart this interaction before it becomes into an all-out brawl. So it's just interesting. The athletes, Shanice makes a good point in the sense that in my mind, if you're doing that, you're not thinking about the safety, health, and well-being. Because at that point, if you're upset about something, okay, fine, figure out another way to deal with it. But clearing benches and getting all in each other's face just doesn't make sense. And now, to your point, Nivette, they were in Philly, but they have to play other teams. So not only can the Marlins not play that stand that they were going to do, but now you have to figure out what does it look like for the next series that they were going to have, and the one after that, and the
It's a
one after
domino
that. And we're
effect.
talking,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We're talking about a 2 week period here. So I don't know, and what they don't realize is they're making it difficult too for other sports. It kind of funnels us right into talking about the NFL some too, because um, my understanding is that it's a similar thing, right? There's not going to be a bubble.
They
It's
don't
going
know
to
what
be,
they're doing in the NFL. That's the thing. They have no plan.
and it's too late for that. It's August 1st.
They didn't have a plan before they were supposed to report to training camp. Like the day before, there was nothing on the table until the players went out to the social media campaign, letting people know that we don't have any rules or regulations here. We're flying by the seat of our pants. That's a problem. What we gonna do? And then that's when they came out and said, "Okay, we're gonna test you every day." That's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
and
else.
you've seen the reaction from a lot of players. I mean, you have a lot of players that are opting out because they're thinking about their families for the very reason that we're having the issues with baseball, because they don't have much guidance, and it looks like there's not going to be any kind of bubble. And
Mm-hmm.
again, look at how large NFL teams are.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
And then
talking about trying to
staff.
put this amount of people where, yeah, and there's, yeah, exactly. Where are you going to put that amount of people where you can keep them contained, unless you're saying you're only traveling with X amount of players? I mean, I don't know what they're doing because they don't know what they're doing. So they don't
Right.
have anything. They don't have anything in place. And since they don't have anything in place, you have the athletes who are saying, I'm not willing to risk the health and safety and well-being of my kids, my spouse, my mother, father, siblings, whatever the case may be, grandparents, because y'all don't even know what you're doing. And so I don't even have
Mm-hmm.
anything to take back and say, well, this makes sense. I can do this. I can do that. And really, it just really shows a lack of leadership, because if this is something that you're going to do, you need to have someone who's going to be at the helm, who can make some decisions, get some people in a room, get the players association in there too, so you can get their opinions about their concerns, and try to figure out what is it that we need to do to best protect our players, but to also bring something to the fans that they will be excited about seeing. And they haven't done that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's August 1st. Season would ordinarily be starting in the next month, I
Yeah.
guess, month and a half, whatever it is. So you don't have much time. This isn't the time to put this together. And I'm not really sure why they didn't look to the NBA as like a model, right? To at least say, here's somebody that's done something. And again, I know it's different. I know that they have smaller team size. I know we're talking about playoffs, but at least to see that there's somebody doing something and at least having a conversation to figure it out.
And then
I
what
just feel like,
And
go
what we
ahead.
said about earlier, when you have a lot of money to have a solution, you can make it work. And last time I checked, the NFL was the highest grossing sport in America. So they have lots of money and lots of resources
Yep.
to get done what they need to get done. I think if they wanted to put those resources into the safety of their players, which we have seen in previous situations, is not always the case. It's all about the money. But I think the NFL could have done a thing where not necessarily one bubble, they could have done like multiple bubbles or like little regions in the country where you have like your pocket of teams who, but um, yeah. So I think things could have happened and been, but once again, looking at the cultures of these organizations. So you look at the culture of the NFL and the culture of the NBA, and I think the NBA has invested a lot more in their players and their player safety, and saying that we are like peers to a certain extent when it comes to your safety, when it comes to if you want to about how you want to advocate, how you want to protest. We will talk to you. We will be more progressive per se in terms of that type. And the NFL is not that type of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to say. You look at the response with this movement and how it started in the NFL and what the response was, and the response from all sorts of people in positions of power, and I guess just the disrespect to someone's voicing their opinion. Whereas with the, to your point, with the NBA, it's been very much, what can we do to make our athletes understand that we understand that their having a voice is important to them, and we want to support that. Again, it's not necessarily about agreeing with everything and the way it happens. It's about supporting people and about just like human decency and respecting that people have opinions and allowing them to voice that in a way that works within the bigger league. So I completely agree. And they could have done something, but it really, what I hear you saying though, what I'm really taking away from this is they need someone from the great university that we went to be at the lead, because that's what they got in the NBA. Thank you, Adam Silver. He's a Dookie.
he's a
That's
dookie.
that's really
He's a dookie.
that's my biggest
Yeah.
takeaway from that, is that
You know, Kim,
everyone.
you are so smart. I did not. You knew what I was
I mean,
thinking before I was thinking it.
that's really what it's about. That's really what it boils down to. And I'm not biased at all. I just think things are better when Duke is involved and surrounding. So that's all I'm going to say
Yeah.
about that.
So Shanice had a question like, are there enough sports complexes to really execute like a type of bubble situation across all professional sports leagues? I guess. Well, I guess if you look at the standards of, um, I mean the stadiums of the arenas, probably not, because if you look at the situation with the Blue Jays who were homeless, and they were trying to hold out for a major league type baseball stadium that never appeared because the country of Canada said that, oh, y'all gonna have baseball this year, but you can't play it here in Toronto because we're quarantining. So if you're a baseball player and you live in Toronto, cool, you can stay there. But if you cross the border, you can't come back. And we're not letting these other teams come back and forth across our border. And then we'll be looking like the United States when it comes to COVID.
Yeah, we're not really welcome in any places right now. I think
Anywhere.
things like Mexico and a couple of countries in Africa have not banned us. But how
The
the
irony,
irony
right? But
that we are banned from all these countries. But anyway,
but
I
back to that. So they had to kind of, I guess, go to their plan C, which was to use um, their minor league stadium in Buffalo, but they're making it work. So, well, they had.
gotta go where you gotta go. Buffalo, gosh. I mean, it's quarantine, so it doesn't really matter. Every place, I guess, is like Buffalo. Ain't not much you can do anywhere.
Unless you're in Miami.
Unless you're in Miami. Other than Miami, we're all living in Buffalo right now. We're all living
Yeah. Right. So yeah, but I think if I mean like sports is not going to look the same this year anyway. So I think we could have made some things work. We have enough college stadiums out there. We do have some college teams who are not going to who already said they're not going to participate in the fall. But one thing too, I want to get back to about baseball and not COVID related and not Black Lives Matter related is that how about the Astros are like getting off, like this is like the perfect scenario for them because it's kind
Oh
of
yeah,
like their whole cheating scandal took like a back seat. Like so I mean
everything.
it's like other things that are more important and there are no fans to uh
finish your statement while you
He's
handle
going
that.
crazy over here. Literally
Yes, it
crazy.
sounds like it.
Like
They're no, yeah, there are no fans. It sounds like there's
no
no
fans.
fans to jeer at them and boo them and to chant all these sorts of things at them
Yeah.
because of what's happened. But you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, I until you said that, I completely forgot about it. And at first, I was like,
See?
"Where's she going with this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they did have this cheating scandal going on." I completely it had left my mind that that ever happened. So it's the perfect situation for them, absolutely. And yeah, I don't know, Shanice. I mean, maybe there's a situation to Nivette's point if we had these little pockets, if you're only using the stadiums. Now I know that there's some sports and they share stadiums, like I definitely understand
Mm-hmm.
that. But I think if you were choosing, again, you have to look at the numbers, 3 or 4 stadiums that aren't shared, and you used it for those other sports, maybe you have a situation where you can. I think really for me, in my opinion, what gets more challenging is trying to figure out where they're being housed and things like that, right? I think you might have the complexes to do it, but now if you're talking about having 8 or 10 teams, again, depending on the
Right.
sport, depending on
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can do more like 6 teams. And if you're talking about a baseball football team and they have football team has I don't know 40 players, 50 players, and their staff that you're trying to have for each team. Now, where are you going to look to have house them? Because the nice thing about Disney is they already have this wide world
Yeah.
of sports type situation.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney, the parks, I guess maybe they're starting to open if they haven't already opened some of them.
Yeah.
But at the time, there are a lot of things that aren't really running at the same capacity. So you have all these hotels that are already there. So
Right.
that to
And
me
once
would be more of the
again, when you have the money, we're talking about $1 billion corporation
yeah,
here, you can make it
yeah,
work.
when you have the money. Exactly. So maybe that's what it is. If you have the money to pay certain hotels or certain whatever to say, we want you to only house NFL players, here's the money that we're going to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, they're like, okay, we're not making any money right now anyway, so why do you want
Right.
traveling?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I'll take this.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
pretty
take
sure
this
you could
contract from
go into some kind of partnership with Airbnbs or whatever. They need the money.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think really what it goes back to is to even have this conversation and the leadership. And I think that baseball and and football have failed in that regard. In that the only thing that they're really doing is saying we're going to have you tested, and you'll get to be tested this amount of times or this frequently. But otherwise, they're still right now allowing teams to go back and forth and do all this traveling. And so that's I think they just
Oh
have
my
a
goodness. So we were talking about I'm watching so I have the games on and we were talking about how close they are and OKC who's all about Silent Assassin, Shanice, look at you, code word. They have a 72-49 lead on Utah in the third quarter.
where was that poor performance when I wanted the Pelicans to win the other night?
Right, exactly. Right.
Thanks a
Ugh.
lot, Utah.
Thanks a lot, Spider.
Right? I was cheering hard. I'm huge.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, Duke South.
Duke South, the Bayou Brotherhood, all those different. So,
All those
and again,
things.
our guys played well. The
Our
ones
guys play good.
yeah,
And
they played
well,
really
also one thing we didn't talk about too about the internet, like do the Pelicans really are they trying to win? Because I have serious questions about that. I mean, literally when I was watching the game and I was like, oh, Zion not coming back. Do we really want to win this game? And I don't think making the playoffs is a priority for them
is a
because he's
priority.
still not going to be playing like extra minutes. And I think that's kind of stupid, honestly. I mean, I know like he didn't get all the full practices in because he was away, had a family emergency, he was outside the bubble.
But he done
But
really well in the time between when they started back before he had to leave.
right,
He had
right.
gotten
He
really
has no
good.
injury, right? No injury, right? That you said he was healthy. What's going on?
Yeah,
Like it.
yeah, unless you're saying let's just
Yep.
wrap it up for this season and wait till next. But to that point, what's the point of even going, right? Why not just informally and you don't have to tell me a lot.
Exposure.
Just just say send somebody else to have to play for this last seed. Like, no, like if you're not gonna try,
Send somebody else.
yeah, send the next
Right.
team. If you're not gonna try. What's the
And
point
you
of just
know,
wait?
And part of this whole thing about the play-in and all this was because they needed Zion for the ratings.
Exactly.
Uh,
And you got this man
so
playing 15
the
minutes. What are you
first game
doing?
back, Zion was the headliner, and he played 15 minutes and didn't even play in the last 7 minutes of a close game, of a game that they need to actually make the playoffs. So I'm like, I don't think the Pelicans are really. I don't think making the playoffs is their first priority here.
Shady boots. And Zion played well. He was so efficient. I think he had
He was
like
very efficient, no rebounds though.
yeah, well, he was
But
versatile.
also that could be because he only played 15 minutes.
Exactly. They didn't give him enough time to get a rebound.
Right.
Maybe
He
he needs
he
a
give him
break.
time.
Yeah,
He
get some
couldn't show what he
time.
can do.
No, give him the man time to get a
And
rebound.
he was looking all kind of salty on the bench.
Yeah.
He was like, man, if I was out there, I just want to ball. Let's dance.
I just want to ball. Let's dance. For real though. So it's interesting for sure. You make a very good point, and maybe that's not their focus, but I would go back to my point of let some other team go because again they need it for the ratings. But if he's not out there, then for the people who aren't actually invested in the Jazz or the Pelicans or any other team that the Pelicans are playing, if you don't actually care to watch
Yeah.
them play, if he's not out there,
Right.
then they're going to turn the channel. So if that's what
Yeah.
we're doing, might as well let I don't know who it was, but whoever was behind them, might as well let them come and let them play hard and try to get in there. So very interesting
Oh,
stuff.
well.
We also have the WNBA who is in a bubble as well, and so they're
Hmm.
only. It's interesting for them because it ends up being very similar to a playoffs type situation because their season is already so short.
It's so short. Yeah.
Yeah, so they only, I think it's a 22 game season that they're playing because they typically play over the summer. And now that they're in a bubble as well, they have this 22 game season. So for them, there are things that are very much heightened, like injuries, which we have seen early on. Unfortunately, our fellow
Yeah.
Karima Christmas Kelly suffered a season-ending Achilles
Hmm.
injury, and I hate it for her because she's had some injuries the past couple of years, and she had gotten back healthy, and she's been in the league for I guess what 9, 10 years
Yeah. A
now.
minute. Yeah.
9 years. Yeah, so she's
Yeah.
for
We've been
sure
out 10, so it's
that
9 years for her. Yeah.
will be nine. Yeah, and I mean, she was a crucial piece to that team, and they're kind of scrambling a little bit. I know they have a player that's out on maternity leave that's planning to come back, and so they're having to have some other players step up. But it's just interesting how inflated things such as injuries for the WNBA are because of how compact their season now is when it already was a super short season. So you don't
Yeah.
have much
Just
time.
like Sabrina.
Yeah, and that injury. And I think they did say X-rays look good, but they still have to see if she has
I
anything
know.
going on.
Oh no, it was a alert that came in.
Oh,
Like
I haven't seen it. What did they say? Oh no.
it said that she suffered a potentially serious. Okay, Liberty rookie Sabrina Ionescu. That's how you pronounce her name. Suffered a potentially season-ending grade 3 left ankle sprain Friday, and it's um and because it's the season so short, that's why it's potential season ending because she can't it's not enough time to recuperate from that. So
Yeah,
in a typical season, she could come back,
right.
but by the time she come back now, like, is it worth it? It would have been enough games on the schedule to make a difference for her to play. So that's where they are now. And she's a mama girl. So
Yeah, that's gotta be tough.
and she had just had like a monster game.
She did. She had
She
like
almost put
33
a
points.
triple double. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like, yeah. So yeah, she was finding her groove as a rookie. Um, but
And
yeah,
that's
that
actually a even better point because like with Karima's injury, that's actually no matter what, right? You could have a 100 game season, and that's going to be season injury to rehab for
right.
that. But something like a severe sprain that typically would take I don't know 10 weeks to rehab, and you can
Mm-hmm.
come back or 4 weeks, whatever it is for her,
Mm-hmm.
because of this being so short, it means that she's not able to, and you hate that for anybody, especially in their first season. But you hate that this is where we are. But it's the times we're living in, and the nice thing I'll say is you just see how great and how good of a talent she is. And so,
Yeah.
after she's able to come back and next year and whatever the season looks like for next year, she'll be in a spot where she can really contribute. So, um, it's unfortunate, but wishing her, sending all the good vibes and energy and prayers to both her and Karima, and hoping
Yeah.
for the best with recovery for those injuries, because injuries suck.
They do. They really do. Uh, I've never had this like that bad of a like a sports injury, but but
Well, I've had enough for both of us.
I know
So
there's a segue for you, Kim. There's a segue.
yeah, I've had enough for multiple people. I've had a broken collarbone, I've had a broken ankle, I've had a neck sprain, all sorts of, yeah, all the, like, playing sports. So it's tough, and you hate it. And I wasn't obviously at that level, so I can only imagine when that's the way you earn your living,
Right.
and you're forced to now have to rehab, and you can't be there with your teammates and things like that. Because it hurt me, and I was just, you know, I was a professional amateur athlete. I just want to make sure all the people know that I held myself in high regard about my talent level, but I didn't quite cross the threshold. Nobody was paying me. So, anyway, it's important.
It is. It's all about this. It's all about the heart.
I had plenty of that, plenty of that, plenty of that. Lots of grit, lots of heart.
Yeah.
But see, when you say that, that's the problem. I don't want to push that too hard, because when you talk about the intangibles, usually it's because the people didn't have the skills. You see? You see what I'm saying? Most people that you describe as having a lot of heart and a lot of grit, it's because that's what they're using to counter the fact that maybe their jumper's broken. That was not me. I need to set the record clear.
Okay.
I was
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
that was
Semantics. Yes.
semantics. Okay, that's fair.
Right.
I'm gonna let
Yes.
it go.
Yes. You're writing your essay, and you want to make sure you have the right. Yes.
I do. I got to support my thesis statement.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yes. You are not Rudy.
I'm not. No, no. I'm not getting in the last few minutes of the last game after I had to work hard to walk onto the team and got obliterated at every practice. I am not Rudy. No. I'm the person that was telling the coach, put Rudy in. Rudy can have my spot, coach. Rudy can have my spot. I've been starting all season. Put Rudy in. That's me.
Okay. All right. All right. Now that we have
Set
clarified
the
that
stage.
Kim
Hmm.
is a very skilled athlete, let's
Well,
talk about Kyrie and like the major foundation like gift he's put forward for the WNBA players who are going to miss playing because of reason related to COVID or because they took time out to do something relates to the Black Lives Matter movement or something of the sort. So I thought that when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I was happy to see it because I'm glad he was putting his money where his mouth is. Um, and so I'm glad and then he's supporting these players who, like, if an NBA player misses the season, it's a lot of money, but if they've been handling their business, it's not going to be that big of a problem. But if a WNBA player misses a season, like they're not making millions of dollars and tens of millions. They're making million period and playing for the WNBA. So that's a lot of money. Like that money means something to them, to their families, to their way of life. And so I was so proud when I saw that he had made that gift. And so yay, Kyrie.
yeah, look, I agree. I agree. I think it's really him taking a stand, and to what you said, just really saying, I'm not just going to talk the talk, but I'm going to walk the walk, and I'm going to show
Mhm.
you that I value the women's game. I value those athletes, and I understand that they aren't paid nearly the amount that we're paid. So let me take some of the money that I'm earning and help to contribute to make things easier and better for them. And I will say, although you may not have other people, other NBA players who have done similar things, at least not that they've covered or talked much about. But what you have seen is that a lot of the athletes are wearing the WNBA emblem on sweatshirts and things like that. And I really just think it's something that you never really saw
Mhm.
before, right? So
Before Kobe,
even though you may not,
Kobe made
yeah,
Kobe.
before, yes, exactly. Before Kobe, yeah, don't let me. I don't want to disrespect the goat. Yes, before Kobe, because absolutely he was very much involved in the women's game. But seeing other athletes just get
Mhm.
involved in that, so I think we talk about all of the social injustices, and I think it talks about women and inequality in sports. And part of that shows a shift within professional sports, not only from women being on the sidelines of professional teams, football and basketball, women being referees in these games, and then also now having the male athletes support the women's game. So I was very happy about that too, and just to see what we're seeing with other athletes as well, just bringing attention to it, bringing light to it. So
Yeah.
yay, Kyrie! He
Yay,
said something.
Kyrie.
He said something.
And you guys
He
tune
said
in to the
so
WNBA
you tune in.
season. What's going on right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
do tune in. I saw Jazz playing. What day was that this week? Wednesday. I think they played. I think it was Wednesday, and I was so excited. And I was trying to tell people, I was like, I know her, I know her.
She was on our podcast.
Yeah, I was like, I know her, and I just don't understand why people weren't as that excited to know that I knew somebody that was playing.
Who's on TV playing professional sports?
She's on TV. Yeah, it's a big deal. I was like, I know her. Like, not just know her as in I passed her. Like, I could say hey to her. She gonna say hey back.
She gonna say
Like
hey and then
nobody.
your name.
Yes, exactly.
And
This is
now
a
like, hey
real no.
girl.
Yeah, yeah. I hit people with hey girl often, and not because anybody knows me, but just because I'm bad with remembering
Right. I'm
names.
like, hey
Yeah.
girl.
I did it today. I told you I did stand up paddleboarding today, and I went with a friend that I know, and two other people were there, and I do not know their names. And one of them in particular, I kept forgetting her name, and I felt so bad, and so I had to keep saying like, "Hey, girl," or "Yeah, my new friend over there," because she probably picked up on it. But I felt awful. I'm so bad with names when I first meet people. But in any event, yeah, I thought that was great, and it kind of we'll segue a little bit. This isn't a perfect segue, but it's something that I know we wanted to talk about on our first time back. What are your thoughts about the college football season? What do you think is going to happen? I know some entire conferences have come out with what their plan is as far as whether or not they're going to play. I haven't really seen much as far as plans for safety.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts about whether that's going to take place?
So I think college football is gonna be much like the MLB because you can't bubble a college athlete if because if they are a student athlete, they have to go to class with other students, and you can't. I mean, I've seen when I was in school, I saw a couple of them in classes every once in a while.
JK, JK. No, we know
Just
that.
play. I saw them in
Yeah,
class. Class.
yeah.
Um,
No, I saw athletes in class too. Just a little joke
just a
aside.
little joke, yeah.
Yeah, don't get mad.
We
College
don't
athletes go to
like,
class.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
no,
have friends who are college athletes. They go to class. Go ahead.
no, no. But
Cool.
so I no the college. I don't see the college football. See, like we might have like some season opener games, sure. Um, but after that, it's not. There's not going to be a complete college football season. If it is, you can smack me down with a feather. But I don't see it
Oh, you said
happening.
that already.
I don't see it happening. I think it's not smart, and I think it's all about the money. Once again, but I know that the players themselves want to play because once again, you talk about young men and women, and especially football players um, um, who are maybe like this season is what they need to get to NFL. Like they're probably not gonna be a combine or whatever. So like this is their shot to show like if I am not gonna be a first round pick, like this is all I have to make my case for my living for moving forward. So I see, but you can't. But if you want to really look at like the safety and the issues here, I mean, once again, contact sport. We have lots of different types of
Drop,
juices and stuff
drop.
going on there, droppings,
Yeah,
blood,
we'll talk
sweat,
drops.
even some tears out
Tears.
there.
Yep.
So, I mean, all that commingling across students who are coming from different states, different campuses, and then you're going back to a campus, and then they're going to spread that to their friends, to their girlfriends, to their other girlfriends, and they're going to
Ah,
spread it to their friends. And so, and then we're just going to have like all these college campuses just like full of COVID uh, positive cases. It's like a public health nightmare. I don't think it's smart, but they're going to do it. I don't think the season's gonna finish. So we won't have a cop. I mean, then once again, like, what are they playing for? Are you just playing for your conference championship? Because I don't see how we can do a national championship if no one is going to be having like the priorities, the weight that you put into building like your case to get into that final four to play in the college in the championship series. So yeah, I'm like, what's the yeah? Let's just call it.
Yeah,
Let's just say we did it and not do it.
yeah. Let's not do it and say we did. Yeah, I'm right there with you because my thought too is think about the non-conference games. Sure, you have these conferences that have come out and said this is all we're doing, but I guess that's all you can do because now you have the smaller programs that a lot of the bigger programs typically play as their non-conference schedule leading up to the more challenging matchups that they have, and you have a lot of smaller conferences who have already come out, or smaller programs that have already smaller programs. I'm laughing at you. Smaller programs that have already come out and say that they will not be playing, that they're canceling their season. So I don't know. I think really for me, it just speaks to how, and again, this is my opinion, take it for whatever it's worth. Everyone has their own opinion. My opinion is that looking at what we're trying to force when it comes to sports really just speaks to me of how poorly the US has handled COVID and the outbreak, and how we were in a position to stop the trend and to do a better job and have better numbers and things like that. And we just have not done it as a unit, because we have been unwilling to negotiate on that front and to make sacrifices for the greater good of others. The biggest thing about COVID is not so much about you and I, it's about the people that we could potentially impact who might not have
Mm-hmm.
immune systems as strong as ours, whether it be because they have some sort of condition that compromises it, or whether it be because they're older. And just by way of being older, your immune system isn't as strong as it once was. So it's really about not thinking about self first. And I personally believe that as Americans, we have a problem in looking at our neighbor and doing things together as a unit, and instead acting upon what's best for me and mine. And whatever happens with you over there, that has nothing to do with me. So I think that this just really shows more of that footprint of, to your point, what's the point of playing in college right now? Because what are you ultimately trying to gain,
Mm-hmm.
when going back and forth all these campuses, and then to beyond that, right? So I don't know if you've seen or taken the time to read the messages that we've been getting from the alumni association. Because even though you're muting your face, like, it's so funny. It's so funny. Anyway, but the messages we've been getting from the Alumni Association at Duke, and they're talking about the things that they're doing, and the
Mm-hmm.
messages from the president and him talking about the different things they're doing as far as classes. And I think what the precautions they're taking are good precautions. But what if other schools don't either have the ability, don't have the leadership, or don't have the funding to do things that maybe what Duke is doing, or what NC State is doing, or what Harvard is doing, or what A&T is doing? I mean, whatever the school may be, right? We don't know what these other schools are doing. So now you're sending the athletes where maybe you had some control at your university. Now they're going off to play at Notre Dame, and I don't know what Notre Dame is doing. And if they're not doing the same thing, then now they come back, and it just compromises the entire system that Duke or whatever school has put into place. I use Duke for all my examples because that's where I went. But I know people
Hey,
say
you only know what you know.
I know what I know, and I love what I know, and so I use them for all examples. But in any event, I
Yeah.
think it's even bigger than, to your point, just like going and coming. Well, you don't know, because that's my biggest thing. That's how I feel about all sorts of things, right? I know what's going on in my house. I don't know what other people that I may or may not be around are doing. So that's why I have concerns about COVID, because I don't know what you're doing at home. Some people
Right.
do.
And then we're essentially going to be trusting these like 18, 19, 20-year-old guys to follow. No,
Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm,
no,
mm-mm.
it's not gonna. That is not
Not
gonna happen.
going to go well. So, in that sense, it seems like we would be better positioned to just keep things under wraps until the end of the year, and hopefully, we'll be in a better place to do some things sports wise, and otherwise, just as a society. at the beginning of the new year if we can make these sacrifices now. And I feel for all the student athletes. So it's not me being emotionless to that. I can't imagine what they're dealing with. All the students, not just the athletes, what they're having to deal with and go through. But at the same time, it goes back to the sacrifices that you make for the greater good of others. And I know I'm not the one that's having to make that particular sacrifice, but um, I think that's just where we are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And hopefully that means you can get back to having a season next year. Now, if you're a senior, yeah, whatever. But maybe you're able to redshirt. Maybe you're able to come back because of this stuff that's going on. But you want to have a season in 2021? Let's do what we need to do now, so that a year from now we're not having this same conversation because we're still in the same place.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh gosh, what a sad way to end. Let's see.
yeah. Let's see.
Ooh.
What's gonna be? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh,
Hmm.
did you see the challenge that your boy Jay Tatum made to Coach K, the registering to vote video? I like
Yeah.
that challenge because
Yeah.
maybe we can end off with that, right? We can
Yes.
for all of our viewers, if you haven't seen it, Jason Tatum basically sent a challenge to 5 people, one of them being Coach K, trying to get people energized and keep the same energy that we've been having with everything that's going on to make sure that they register and that they actually get out and vote when the general election comes up. So Coach K challenged the brotherhood. I like to consider myself an honorary member of anything that is associated with Duke. So I'm going to consider that also with all the times that I stood outside and slept outside. Surely.
Well, if that's the case, me
Yeah, no,
too.
me too. You're a part too. Yeah, you were right out there with me every time.
Yeah.
Seriously. So I think we can end off by that and just challenging everyone who is tuning in to get involved, to get out and vote, vote in your local
Vote,
elections, vote in the general election, the presidential election. Just get out, make sure you're
please.
registered,
Vote.
and make sure you vote because it oftentimes feels like your voice isn't heard. But when we have the complaints that we have about the things that are happening, the power that we have is to use our voices and vote so we can elect people that we believe will work for the change that we want to see in the world. So that's my challenge to, and our challenge to each and every one of you. If you aren't registered, figure out what you need to do to get registered and make sure you vote in the upcoming elections. That's more positive.
Yes, I like it. Boom.
Boom, from the GOAT. He inspires me.
He, well, that's just what he does.
Yes, he inspires me.
All
Well,
right, guys.
yeah, thank you
Thanks for
everybody for
tuning
tuning
in.
in. Yeah, we'll try to be back sooner than 3 months.
Right. Well, we didn't have sports in this span,
We
so
didn't.
that
So
we are
provided
sports gossip.
we can continue, provided the sports continue, but when things shut down,
It's
notice
like,
I said
what are we gonna talk about?
notice I said when, not if.
Kim, we
um,
will definitely we will finish the NBA season.
NBA season, yes, absolutely. So we can talk all things NBA. The other things TBD.
T-
We'll see. They're trying to last little point here. They're trying to start up tennis again too. I saw that Serena Williams.
yeah, yeah. The U.S. Open is gonna come in September.
Yeah, so they're doing that. So she's making a push to do this small tournament. I think it was in like Kentucky or somewhere pretty random.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
she's trying to essentially headline as being one of the biggest players, most top ranked players that'll be there. So that'll be nice. Because tennis, I feel like they definitely can. You take the fans away, and you could also just give everybody their own balls, right? So if I'm serving, you don't get the ball unless you're serving. If I'm serving, I
Yeah,
have my
like when you're
balls.
time to serve. Yeah, and they do that
Yeah,
already.
your time to
So
serve, you use balls that are marked for Serena away,
yeah,
and then you otherwise shouldn't be touching the ball unless you're all right. Cool, good. I feel good about this.
okay,
Welcome back.
okay. Welcome.
You had the power to stop it, so I was
I
waiting.
do. I didn't know if
You
you
got
were
the power to
finished.
stop the live.
Okay.
I'm finished. I
Bye.
can understand you. I'm one of those people. Yeah, I'm done.